Joe Burrow just said he's trying to manifest a Super Bowl and he's getting roasted for it. Fans immediately turned his comments into a joke, while former players are taking things even further. One is even claiming Burrow basically threatened to leave Cincinnati if they don't win. Let me catch you up. It happened on a Thursday afternoon in Cincinnati, right after the Bengals wrapped a joint practice with the Chicago Bears. Reporters gathered around Joe Burrow like they always do. Nobody expected the next 90 seconds to become the biggest Bengals story of the week. Burrow opened up about where his head's at going into 2026. And what came out wasn't the usual coach speak. I'm trying to put it out into the world. The Cincinnati Bengals quarterback told reporters Thursday, I'm trying to manifest it. I'm trying to show our guys the urgency that I have and that I want us to have as an organization to go and make it happen. Then came the line that actually broke the internet. You can keep pushing it down the road, or you can talk about it now and say, this is the year. I'm tired of saying next year, next year, next year. This is it. Life is too short to keep pushing things down the road. NFL insider Ari Meirov posted the clip within minutes, and it spread through every corner of football Twitter before Burrow had even left the podium. The word manifest was doing a lot of heavy lifting in that quote, and football fans do not let a word like that go unpunished. The first wave of reaction wasn't analysis, it was mockery. One of the most repeated jokes floating around framed it as, is Olivia Ponton teaching him manifesting? NFL fans react to Joe Burrow's comment about trying to manifest a Super Bowl. For a guy known for being dry, deadpan, borderline robotic in interviews, hearing him talk about putting energy into the universe was too good a target to pass up. Manifestation is the language of wellness influencers and vision boards, not a two-time Pro Bowl quarterback getting ready to face the Browns and the Ravens twice a year. The disconnect between Burrow's usual flat delivery and the vocabulary he chose is exactly what made it spread, but the jokes were only the surface layer. The real roasting came from the people paid to analyze quarterbacks for a living, and they went after the substance of what Burrow said, not just the word choice. ESPN's Dan Orlovsky didn't wait long to weigh in, and he didn't play it soft. Where most people heard a pep talk, Orlovsky heard something closer to a threat. He responded to the clip on social media with a blunt two-word summary of what he believed Burrow was actually saying beneath the manifestation talk, win or I'm out. That's not a compliment. That's a former NFL quarterback publicly suggesting the face of the Bengals franchise just issued an ultimatum to his own organization in front of cameras without saying it outright. When someone pushed back and asked Orlovsky why he'd go there, he doubled down rather than walk it back. Reality in the league. Orlovsky replied when a person asked why he thinks Burrow could leave. Org is absolutely all in. In Orlovsky's reading, Burrow wasn't hyping up a fan base. He was quietly setting the terms for his own future in Cincinnati and doing it in a way that put all the pressure squarely back on the front office to deliver. That take didn't sit well with everyone covering the team. Yardbarker's coverage of the moment pointed out that by saying now or never, Burrow has unfortunately opened the door for pundits to take another crack at the narrative that the two-time comeback player of the year wants out of Cincinnati. ESPN's Dan Orlovsky wasted no time spouting off the take. Fans around the league followed suit. So now you've got two separate storms happening at once. Fans mocking the manifestation language and analysts spinning the substance into a trade rumor. Then there was Chris Broussard, who took a completely different angle and went straight at Burrow's legacy. Rather than debating whether Burrow wants out, Broussard used the moment to question whether all this talk of urgency and destiny even matters if Burrow can't finish the job, bluntly stating there's no way he's on the Hall of Fame trajectory, amid what Broussard characterized as hype around the Bengals quarterback. That's a real gut punch to attach to a guy who was simply trying to fire up his locker room. Instead of talking about urgency, national media was suddenly talking about whether Burrow's career had plateaued. Even the reporters in the room that day couldn't resist pressing him on it. ESPN's Ben Baby, who was standing right there for the exchange, followed up by asking Burrow directly if he now views this as a now or never season. Burrow didn't dodge it. You can keep pushing it down the road, or you can talk about it now and say this is the year, Burrow said Thursday. You know, I'm tired of saying next year, next year, next year. When Baby asked point blank if it's now or never, Burrow's answer was short and matter of fact. That's how I'm treating it, for sure. That one sentence is what turned a quirky soundbite into a genuine controversy. Burrow didn't correct the framing, he confirmed it, and that confirmation is exactly what gave Orlovsky and every other skeptic the ammunition to run with the exit narrative because Burrow himself agreed this season carries win or else stakes. By the next morning, the story had split into 3 separate conversations happening at once. There was the comedy angle, mocking the word manifest and turning it into a punchline, about vision boards and self-help podcasts. There was the trade speculation angle, fueled by Orlovsky's blunt translation of the quote into an ultimatum. And there was the legacy angle, with people like Broussard using the moment to question whether Burrow's Hall of Fame case is even on track. 3 completely different roasts, all triggered by the same 11 seconds of a press conference. What's wild is that none of this reaction matched the tone Burrow was actually going for. He wasn't venting frustration at ownership, he wasn't hinting at a divorce from the franchise. In his own words, the entire point of the message was internal, aimed at his teammates, not at the front office. I'm trying to show our guys the urgency that I have, and that I want us to have as an organization to go and make it happen. You can keep pushing it down the road, or you can talk about it now and say this is the year. But intent rarely survives contact with the internet. Once Orlovsky reframed it as an exit threat and fans turned manifest into a running joke, the actual context of Burrow's comments got buried under 3 different competing narratives. That's the situation Burrow is starting the season with. Not a quiet training camp storyline, but a full-blown public debate about what he really meant, why he said it, and whether it says something bigger about where his head's at. To understand why one quote about manifesting a championship could spiral into ultimatum rumors and Hall of Fame debates this fast, you have to go back and look at exactly what Burrow has been through the last 3 years. Because this wasn't some random comment out of nowhere, it came from somewhere very specific. The reason Burrow's comment hit a nerve is that next year isn't a hypothetical phrase for the Bengals. It's been the actual outcome 3 separate times in a row, and Burrow has lived every single one of those disappointments from the inside. Rewind to the 2021 season. Burrow, in just his 2nd year in the league, after recovering from a devastating knee injury, led Cincinnati all the way to Super Bowl LVI. The Bengals lost that game, but the run itself reset expectations for the entire franchise. The following year, the Bengals came back and made it to the AFC Championship game again, falling just short of a return trip to the Super Bowl. 2 years, 2 deep runs. It looked like the start of a dynasty in the making. Then everything stalled. He led Cincinnati to Super Bowl LVI during his 2nd season and the AFC title game in year 3. Though the Bengals fell short on both occasions, Burrow and the team haven't been back to the playoffs since then. 3 straight years? Not 3 mediocre finishes. 3 total absences from the postseason, following 2 trips to the final rounds of the AFC. The first of those misses came in 2023, and it had a very specific cause. Before Burrow went down with his injury, Cincinnati was beginning to heat up, with recent victories over the Bills, 49ers and Seahawks. Let's face it, when your franchise quarterback goes down, what else can you expect? A wrist injury ended his season, and the Bengals' playoff hopes went with it. That was the first next year. The second miss in 2024 was almost more frustrating because it wasn't about Burrow's health at all. He played every single game. He put together an MVP caliber season, throwing for a career-high stat line and keeping the Bengals in the hunt deep into the year. And they still didn't make it. An injury to such a superstar provides some explanation for Cincinnati's troubles, but the Bengals also missed the playoffs when Burrow played every game. In 2024, a byproduct of a defense without the ability to stop or sometimes even slow opponents, Burrow did his part. The roster around him didn't hold up its end. That was next year number 2, and it stung differently because there was nobody to blame but the organization's roster construction. Then came 2025, and this one was almost cruelly familiar. It was another year defined by injury, after missing time with a knee injury in 2020 and a wrist injury in 2023. Burrow suffered a turf toe injury in week 2 and was out until late November. He missed the bulk of the season. The Bengals traded for a fill-in veteran to try to hold things together, and the year ended in a 6-11 record, their worst finish of the Burrow era. After finishing 9-8 in 2023 and 2024, the Bengals finished the 2025 season with a 6-11 record. The way that season ended almost felt scripted for maximum pain. The Bengals were eliminated in the final week on a walk-off field goal. The regular season ended with yet another game where the defense couldn't make a game-winning play. in the final minutes as the Browns beat the Bengals 20-18 on a walk-off field goal. Head coach Zach Taylor summed up the mood afterward with a line that basically became the epitaph for the whole 3-year stretch. "It's a little bit fitting, to be honest with you, with how our season has gone," Taylor said. So when Burrow stands in front of cameras and says he's tired of saying next year, next year, next year, that's not some abstract slogan.